woke up early again and was on the road as the day was just breaking. Rode out of Barstow towards Victorville on Route 66, stopping a couple of times to take a closer look at some of the old buildings and service stations along the way. We had planned to have breakfast at Emma Jean's, made famous in Kill Bill, but it turned out they were closed on Sundays, so we just stopped for a photo instead. We continued through Victorville and towards Los Angeles. Route 66 is still drivable for long stretches, so we switched back and forth between it and I-40. The thing about LA is just when you think you reach the city, you realize there's still a long way to go before you actually get downtown, especially if you stay off the freeways. Since Emma Jean's was closed, we thought we'd grab a breakfast at the very first McDonald's. But when we got there, we found out it wouldn't open for another 2 hours. It was interesting to ride off the highways, but the traffic lights were red and red and red. So we alternated between city streets and freeway until we reached the storage unit Jan Fredrik had rented to keep the bike safe until our next trip. We arrived at public storage without any issues and locked up some gear in the unit, so we wouldn't have to worry about theft if we left the bikes anywhere. With that sorted, we rode to the Bike Shed, Los Angeles. We had visited the London location last year on our way to the Isle of Man and loved the concept. There we had breakfast and relaxed for a while before heading into the shop to buy t-shirts. That's when a friendly woman came over and introduced herself as the boss woman. Turned out it was Vicky van Sommeren, partner of Dutch and co-owner of the Bike Shed. She was super friendly and we chatted for a while about our trip, as well as their plans to expand Bike Shed to Austin and Dubai. We also left our mark on the Wall of Fame. Back on the bikes, we rode up to Griffith Observatory for a view of the Hollywood sign. From there, we went down to Hollywood Boulevard and Grauman's Chinese Theater. Joachim popped into a souvenir shop to get a Hollywood sign for his daughter because she forgot to buy one the last time they were in Los Angeles together. We split up for a bit. Joachim wanted to pick up a few things for his daughter, while Fredrik headed to a hotel at Venice Beach to check in. Jan Fredrik brought his gear up to the room and had to laugh. Isn't it typical to get the upgrade when all you'd plan to do is sleep there and not spend any time in the room? When Joachim was going to pay for the jeans for his daughter, he realized his wallet was gone. A bit of a mess, but luckily you can pause your credit cards in the apps. Joachim rode down to Venice Beach to meet Jan Fredrik at the hotel. We met up at the rooftop bar a little later. After days spent almost entirely in small-town America, it was a bit of a culture shock for two middle-aged white bikers to walk into this place, packed with young hip people, and no one looked like us in sight. We used the voucher for 2 beers and soaked in the moment. And then Joachim got a message from a woman who worked at Target on Hollywood Boulevard. She had found his wallet. After getting Joachim's stuff up to the room, we decided to ride out to Paradise Cove Beach Cafe in Malibu before meeting the woman at the store. Joachim had been eating there both times before he'd been to California, so he wanted to go back. We had a great meal there, then we headed to the biker bar Neptune's Net nearby. It was getting dark, so we just had 1 beer before riding back over the mountains to Hollywood, where Joachim's got his wallet back. We had to make a quick stop to look at the pothole where Joachim had punctured the rental car a few years ago. With that sorted, we followed Route 66 down to the end of the trail sign at Santa Monica Pier before finally heading back to the hotel and calling it a night. The day of our return home had come, and we got up fairly early, as every day. We started the day off with a sunrise bike ride along the beach from our hotel at Venice Beach to Santa Monica and back to Muscle Beach before returning to the hotel to check out and pack up the bikes. First up was the house of an old friend from Norway who had agreed to keep the spare keys for both bikes and the storage unit while Fredrik was away. She wasn't home. She'd taken a spontaneous trip to Norway the night before, but we handed the keys over to a neighbor. We had decided that our final meal on American soil this time would be a hot dog at the legendary Pink's Hot Dogs on the way towards Hollywood. When we rode by the day before at around 4 p.m, the line had stretched far out into the street. But this morning we were the only customers who could each order one of their massive hot dogs loaded with everything. Every hot dog on the menu is different, piled high with all sorts of toppings, and we barely managed to eat half of one each. After the food was done, and after looking at all the pictures of the many celebrities who had been there, we sat for a while in the sun, just soaking it in before heading towards East LA at the storage unit. We made one last stop along the way to fill the bikes with gas, low in methanol, since they'd been sitting for quite a while. We got to the storage unit, which looked exactly like something out of Storage Wars, and began the game of motorcycle Tetris. After removing side cases and top boxes, we finally managed to squeeze one bike in front first and the other backwards. There was so little space left that we had to climb over the bikes ourselves to get out of the unit. With the temperature creeping towards 30 degrees Celsius, we were thoroughly sweat by the time the job was done. We ordered an Uber, dragged all our gear around the building and out to the gate, and soon we were on our way to LAX. The trunk was stuffed full of boxes, the back seat packed with us and our luggage on our laps, since the front passenger seats was off limits. Check-in went smoothly, and we had about an hour to enjoy the California sun on the lounge terrace before boarding the plane and heading back towards the chilly Norwegian autumn. This is how the stolen Tabasco got to use. Now there will be a long break before any new American adventures. The next trip is planned for September 2025, starting in Los Angeles and ending in Nashville. The route we'll take and what we'll see along the way, time will tell.